Have you ever pondered over the intricacies of the Sicilian defense, hyper-accelerated dragon variation in chess? The complexity of this opening is much like a well-orchestrated symphony, a dance of pieces each with its own purpose and strategy. To kick off the game, white begins with e4, setting the stage for the open game. In response, black counters with c5, the signature move of the Sicilian defense, immediately challenging white's control of the center. White then develops the bishop to c4, eyeing the vulnerable f7 square. Black plays g6, a key move in the hyper-accelerated dragon variation, preparing to fianchetto the bishop. As white moves the knight to f3, black develops the bishop to g7, a typical dragon setup. The knight then jumps to g5, threatening e6. Black responds with e6, fortifying the d5 square. White's queen moves to f3, adding more pressure on the f7 square. Black responds with q checks g5, a daring move but a calculated one. White then plays d4, opening lines and challenging black's center. Black captures on d4, a decision that changes the nature of the game. White's bishop captures the queen on g5, gaining material advantage. Black then plays a 6, preparing to expand on the queen side. White develops the knight to d2, preparing to castle. Black responds with b5, pushing the bishop back to b3. Black's d3 pawn move is a tactical shot, skewering the queen and bishop. White's queen moves to d3, releasing the tension. Black's bishop captures on b2, winning a pawn. White responds by swinging the rook to b1, aiming at the bishop. Black retreats the bishop to g7, bringing it back to safety. White castles, bringing the king to safety. Black develops the knight to c6, preparing to castle. White's queen moves to d6, attacking the bishop on b4. White's knight moves to f3, aiming to reposition itself. Black's bishop moves to b4, aiming at the queen. White's queen moves to g3, moving out of the bishop's line of sight. Black plays a 5, expanding on the queen side. White plays c4, challenging black's pawn structure. Black responds with bxc4, accepting the challenge. White's bishop captures on c4, regaining the pawn. Black's bishop moves to a 6, skewering the bishop and queen. White's bishop captures on a 6, black recaptures with the rook. White's knight jumps to e5, a central outpost. Black responds with n4, eyeing the e2 square. White's knight retreats to d3, defending the e1 square. Black's knight jumps to e2+, a royal fork. White moves the king to h1, the only safe square. Black's knight captures on g3+, forking the king and rook. White recaptures with fxg3. Black's bishop captures on c3, a tactical shot. White's rook moves to b8, delivering checkmate. To recap, the Sicilian defense hyper-accelerated dragon variation is a highly complex and aggressive opening, offering black dynamic counterplay and rich tactical possibilities. The game we just traversed highlights the importance of understanding the strategic and tactical nuances in this opening. Each move, each decision, each strategy adds a layer of depth to the game. Understanding this can enrich not only your appreciation of the game but also your performance on the chessboard. Remember, chess is not just a game, it's a journey of strategy, tactics, and endless learning.